What is up, everybody? Uh, it's another early morning edition of Rusty's Speed and Custom. Uh, and today I got a lot of stuff to figure out, and none of it's going to be very exciting. So, motor is still in. Uh, I need to spend some time on wiring, figure out where stuff's going to go. Also, I picked up a drive shaft from the junkyard. Uh, I think that's gonna end up working out for me, but I've got to switch. I got to switch the yokes around and do some stuff. So we'll do that later because it's gonna involve hammering and such. Uh, yeah, I just I just got a bunch of stuff to figure out now. So um, I think the first thing I'm gonna do is kind of lay the wiring out to the best of my abilities, and I'll probably update you after and kind of show you what wires are going where, just in case you happen to be doing one of these. Hey, um, well, it's about 5 hours later. That's not an exaggeration. Um, I've been sorting and running wires all morning, and I didn't film it because I don't know how you remotely make that exciting, but I am going to give you guys an overview of how I hooked everything up. Uh, in saying that, if you find something that I hooked up wrong or some way that I can do it better, please let me know, because wiring is not my strong suit. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to test any of this stuff for a little while because I got to get to a point where I can put a battery in it and hook up power, and yeah, it's going to be a while, but I just wanted to get this done because I don't like it, so I'd rather have it over with. But anyway, let me show you how I hooked everything up, and then maybe somebody will inform me what I screwed up. Okay, as you can see, I kind of ran. There's somehow, even on a carburetor deal, there's wiring everywhere, it seems like. This is all of my. This is kind of like the main loom over to the motor. This is a tan wire. It is going to oil pressure. You can't see. It's going to my oil pressure sender. I ordered the wrong adapter. This is a actual S10 oil pressure sender. So I ordered the wrong adapter, but I got to fool around with that and make that work. But the tan wires run to it for the gauge, because I want to use the factory gauges. Then we got this loom of wire. It runs up here. I still gotta finish tying all this stuff up and getting it put up where it's gonna go. But I bought a connector off Amazon, and these are the factory wires from the truck, which actually have the same style pin on them, so I was able to just put them into this factory style connector here. Let me make sure I say this right. The pink and black wire is the key on
ignition power, which should excite the alternator. The brown is supposed to be going to the gauge from what I can find, and it goes in the F terminal, which you can see where they're at on this plug. This is a 4-pin plug, but you only use the middle 2 for this, I think. I don't know that. I also, hold on. Also, when you're doing wiring, I don't know why I always end up with stuff all over the floor. According to the internet, you have to put a 470 ohm half watt resistor to your exciter wire, which for us should be the pink and black, hopefully. So you can't see it because I did it back here. I did put the resistor in. This is a power wire, and this was the factory one for the truck also. It's got a fusible link in it. This is how it was hooked up from the factory, so that should be fine, I think. This is a little goofy. I don't know if this is gonna work, but again, the internet said it might, so we're gonna try it. This is a 2-pin. This is actually the factory LS temp sensor. This truck had a 1-pin and also a 2-pin temperature sensor, one for the ECM and one for the gauge. The gauge was the single wire, so I hooked the yellow wire up to what was the green wire that goes to the gauge. I connected those back in here, and then I just hooked the ground side up here, so we have ground. Again, I've read that could work. We will find out when I fire this thing up at some point. But that kind of covers everything up here. As long as this all works, I'm pretty happy with that. Because I want to use, I think I've said before, I want to use the factory gauges and stuff. You can't see it now, but I had to do some goofy stuff in order to use the factory fuel pump relay. This green wire is a signal from the ECM from the factory, and we obviously took the ECM out. So from what I read, again, on the internet, which doesn't lie ever, I had to step in here briefly. The following information about the green wire is wrong. It needs key on 12 volt. Do not connect it the way that I just did. It is wrong. Sorry. I hooked the orange is the power into from the fuse block to the relay. I hooked the green wire to the orange wire. It's back in here. And the gray wire right here, that gray wire from the factory, that gray wire comes out, but it ties into a 3-prong oil pressure sensor, which that is a safety, so that if there's no oil pressure, the fuel pump won't come on. I just bypassed that, and I connected that gray wire together and bypassed the oil pressure thing. If this thing loses oil pressure, I don't know that I necessarily want it to cut fuel off as well. I don't know. I'm pretty good about watching gauges, and I feel like it'd do more damage than good to pull the fuel out of it at the same time you lose oil pressure. So I just bypassed that deal, and the gray wire is actually what runs through the fuse block and back out to the fuel pump, and I'm going to use that gray wire with my fuel pump that I bought. The other thing I could have done was bought a regulator, a bypass style regulator, and used the factory pump in the tank. I kind of wish I would have done that, but that's not what I did, so it's not what we're going to do. I know this is a long-winded explanation, but there's not a lot of good information on how to use all the factory stuff, all the factory gauge stuff with not factory motor and everything. So that's kind of the gist of that. There's a lot of kind of BS stuff. I guess I can show you. Hold on. So the other thing, there's power. This actually ends up going down to the starter, but it runs from the starter up to this and then down, and it runs back and it powers the fuse block over there. And you have down here a purple wire, which is this one here, which is your ignition switch to trigger the starter, and then your power wire, and that's the one that goes up to there. So that's all. I mean, nothing's final hooked up, but that's all in place where it should be. The other thing is I laid out, this is what I'm using. It's a MSD 6LS 6010 box to control the coils, and it's pretty easy to hook up. This is the kind of end of the wiring harness for it. It runs into the coils on the driver's side. Then your next plug in line is going to be your cam sensor plug, and this is the wires for that. And then this plug is for a map sensor. It is not required for you to run a map sensor. You just have to, from what I've read, again, on the internet, that never lies, is you have to go on the computer and shut off the function to read the map sensor if you're not going to use it. I don't plan on using it, at least not for now. So that's just kind of gonna hang out. Your next group of wires goes to your passenger side coils. Then you have your power and ground. Okay, calm down. You have your power and ground here. This is kind of the only stuff you got to hook up on your own. I have it grounded to the block there, which is kind of where there's a ground there from the factory, and that's kind of where that wanted to lay, so that's where I hooked it up. And here is your ignition 12-volt source. Is this pink wire. These trucks, believe it or not, you can see right there, have a pink wire that runs to the coil. So I used the coil power wire to power the ignition box. I don't see any reason why that won't work. There could be a reason, but I don't know it. So we'll figure that all out, I guess, at the same time. And the only other thing, there's this shielded wire right here, and that, maybe you can see, goes down to your crank sensor down there. So again, all this stuff needs to get tied up better, but the shielded wire always goes to the crank sensor. And then this is kind of how much lead I have left. I have not decided. I think this is going to end up on the fender well. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not quite sure yet. This here, there's a pigtail that goes with this. That is for timing retard. Like if you got nitrous hooked up, you can, when you arm the nitrous, you can set this, you can power this to where it will retard timing. Uh, and you can build timing maps and stuff inside of here, which is pretty nice. And then your yellow wire is a tack signal. So if you're running a tack, you can hook it up there. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at on this deal. I know that's a ton of talking, and it's not exciting. It is not exciting to do. I just really wanted to get this over with. There's a lot of unknowns with the way I did this stuff until I can really test it, but uh, the way it is now is probably how it's gonna stay. Obviously, I'll tighten whatever needs to be tightened, but I'm not gonna like finalize any of it until I can test everything. But at least now I know kind of where everything's gonna lay. And I'm pretty happy with it. It's still kind of a cluster, but it wasn't as bad as I kind of thought it was gonna be. It took about 3 hours longer than I thought it would. But on that note, I'm going to go stuff my face with some lunch, and then I got a couple more hours where hopefully I can accomplish something that actually looks like I worked today. So, yay. Okay, I'm back. I know you guys missed me, even though it's probably been like 2 seconds for you. I decided to try and get the carburetor put on because I have a cheap Chinese throttle cable bracket, and I'd like to find out if it's gonna work. You may have noticed I had studs on this side, and I will not have studs on this side because that bracket does not really fit very good, but I think I'm gonna be able to make it work. Maybe, hopefully. It's one of those deals. If you're gonna spend a quarter of the price, you're probably gonna have to do a little work. And that's kind of been the theme of this whole thing. So, I'm gonna get nuts started on this side, and then it's gonna be very hard for me to show you what I'm talking about until after, but we're gonna start putting this together. Okay, so I went back and looked at the pictures of this, and every one of them has them mounted on a throttle body type carburetor, not a actual carburetor, so it doesn't have this uh words accelerator pump. So this will not sit on there with that accelerator pump. So I did the right thing and dug through my junk drawer and found some nuts to put under it, like so. And then I found bolts that were too long, and I stacked a bunch of washers on them. And hopefully that will at least be a temporary solution where I can see. I need to figure out if the throttle cable is going to work and all that kind of stuff. I would like to put studs in here, hopefully, and maybe some more proper spacers and such, but this will hopefully get me by for now. And tell me if this thing's even going to work. Looks like all of that is going to work. I'm back with another voiceover. So I jumped in. I spent forever trying to find the little bolt for the throttle cable thingy. I don't have one, so I just kind of stuck a bolt in there as a placeholder and got started trying to mount the cable and the return spring to the bracket. The bracket actually works out pretty darn well, other than the fact you gotta get a little creative to use it with this style carburetor. Um, I don't know. It's very cheaply made. I think I only paid like 25 bucks for it, so you get what you pay for. But I do believe it's going to work for my purposes, and it would be good if you have like a transmission with a kickdown cable or a TV cable on a 700R4. It'll mount all those things. So, not bad for the price. We'll see long term how it works out. But now we have throttle cable action and return spring action. Come on. Okay, so as you may have seen, we got that kind of figured out, the throttle cable bracket thing, and the carburetor is mounted. I don't love having to use all those spacers and all that stuff, but that's what I had here at the house to make it work. So I spent forever looking for the piece to attach the cable. Excuse me. Hold on. You good now? Huh? Okay. Anyway, I spent forever trying to find a piece to attach the throttle cable to the carburetor. Apparently I don't have any, and I couldn't really make anything work. So I need to get something figured out for that. But we got the bracket all in place. The carburetor is bolted down. I may try and change and like actually put spacers and stuff so it doesn't look so bad. Or I may not. Listen, I'm not above using nuts as spacers, okay? So while I was doing all that, my headers showed up, my next victim headers, but I think we're gonna open them up and try them out. I already know there's gonna be fitment issues, but we're just gonna see how bad they are and if it's worth trying to make these work. We're kind of down to the point in the build where my arm is tired from holding the phone and the other stuff I've been doing. But we're at the point where all this little stuff takes forever. I had 6 hours in running wiring this morning, and it's like 2:30 already, and I only got a couple more hours that I can fool around before I got things I need to do. So let's unbox these headers and see how bad that deal is going to be. That way we kind of know for next week what we're getting into. I'm not going to get to the drive shaft today. I'm just running out of time, I think. If I do, I do. If not, it'll be there next week. But we are starting to make progress. So that's good news. Let's pop these open and see what kind of mess we got with the headers. Step 1, Leatherman. Step 2, don't cut the contents of the box. Okay. Something different about these ones is they are a V-band, which I'm okay with that. It's gonna end up creating more work for us, I think, but that's okay. Here's the actual clamps. These are I can tell that they're kind of cruddy, but they'll probably work. Those bolts look terrible, and also I don't even know what you'd use those for. I don't know if there's even enough there, but I wouldn't use those to bolt your headers up if it was me. So here, okay, hold on. Let me, hold on, too much stuff in the way. Here's my other set. So there's a pretty obvious difference between the two. These are both driver's side. Stay. It didn't stay, in case you're wondering. I don't know. That's kind of difference. Hold on. Hang in there. We're just doing stuff and things. Here's the passenger side, and here's the, okay. It's more challenging to work one-handed. Not even very good at working two-handed. Come on. There's the passenger side. Now, I have heard that these ones are impossible to get plug wires onto, so we may be running a mixture, but we'll kind of figure all that out. So, hang on. I think I'm going to throw the passenger side one in real quick, just so I can see kind of what I'm looking at there, and then we know the driver's side is going to be issues, so we'll kind of deal with that after the fact, maybe. Okay, this is the new one I just got. I wanted to I'm going to end up comparing the two just for myself, so I can decide which one I want to use. This is hitting the control arm pretty hard, and it is not far from doing it there, and it needs to come down a pretty good ways. I don't know, it's hard to tell, but maybe a 1/4 inch or so. So I would say that you're probably gonna run into a clearance problem there also. And this number 4 plug wire is pretty much sitting on the header. I think you could probably dent that in enough to make it okay, but let's try the other one on and see if it's better, and then we'll kind of decide what we're gonna do from there. Okay, here's the other header that's got the 3-bolt flange on the bottom. It is still hitting that control arm, and it is, I don't know, can you see? I don't know, it's almost a whole hole off, so probably about the same amount it needs to come down. But I think the clearance on the spark plugs is going to be better, so I think I'm going to end up cutting that flange off and probably putting a V-band on it, And we'll probably use this header for this side. So, okay, so this is as far as I can get this header in without any modification of anything. It's a pretty long ways from where it needs to be. I don't know, an inch or so. It's hitting, maybe you can see right there, that little corner of that factory motor mount. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off real quick and see if it'll go, because other than that, it's gonna have a problem with the steering shaft, I'm sure, but I think I can make the rest of it work. So let's cut that off and see how it looks. Okay, so as you saw, I trimmed the corner of that motor mount off. I think it still probably needs a little bit more trimmed off. We're now hitting the control arm back there, which is not letting this go up. So I'm kind of, well, let's see what the steering shaft looks like with it right there. Let's see if we're at a point where we want to start beating on this thing. Hang on. Okay guys, this is, obviously the header still needs to come up, which I think will actually give us a little bit more room right here. But we're close. You guys saw how those other ones were. This is much improved, much more improved, much better. It's a thing. So this is all gonna get real tight, but I'm gonna do the right thing and just beat the snot out of it with a hammer. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with the other side, because I kind of hate to split a set up when the other set could be used on something else. But let's start on getting the driver's side fit, because that's gonna be the worst. And I'm gonna beat the snot out of it a little bit and see if we can't make something happen here. Come on. Hey, so my phone died. That's great. I'm gonna show you how bad you gotta beat these things up to get them to work. I'm not happy about it, but we're here now, and the only positive is once the inner fender's in and everything, you're never gonna see it. So yeah, let me show you how bad I beat the snot out of this thing. Yes, it looks terrible. It is what it is. About the only thing I found that it seems you don't have to do this is like the Holly Hooker Blackheart something cast manifolds. Yeah, you know, maybe that's a good option. From what I've seen, I've never messed with them personally, but this is what I got. So I'm gonna show it to you, and then I'm gonna get it put in, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe it won't have to come back out. Now that I think about it, I don't know. We'll worry about that later. But let me show you this. Okay, so as you can see, I had to beat the snot out of these two. Yeah, it's rough, but whatever. They say it doesn't really make that big of a difference having them smash like that anyway, so I had to smash this. Don't mind those. That's my inability to swing a hammer accurately. I had to beat this in because it hit that area on the cross member, and then this, oh, focus, this is to clear that section of the control arm. So yeah, like I said, I'll show you once I get it bolted in. You can't see any of this stuff on the top, so even though it sucks, at least you won't have to look at it every time you open the hood. So I'm gonna get this slammed in there and show you guys what it looks like. Shoo! Look at that thing. She's in there. It is tight like a tiger, but I don't know if you can tell, but there's a gap there, and this is the way this shaft is right now is the widest part, which I kind of did on purpose. So it's also still, she's got a little wiggle room in her still. So I haven't tightened none of that yet because I just haven't gotten there. But we got, can you focus? We got room there. You can't see, but we got room down there. Everything's looking pretty good. I am very relieved that that was able to work, because I've been stressed about that for 2 weeks now. Man, that's awesome. I'm super happy about that. It might not show because I'm kind of in a hurry because I've already worked about 2 hours longer than I was supposed to today, and I really want to get this other side done, or at least fit properly. So yeah, that's the driver's side. You buy cheap headers, you gotta beat the snot out of them. It's just the way it is. David Freiberger, who everybody who works on junk cars pretty much knows at this point, proved in a test on Engine Masters that it doesn't really hurt anything, and they dang near pinched them shut. So I think mine will be good for this stock little 4.8 that's probably gonna not make any horsepower anyway. But I'm gonna get to work trying to fit this other header and see what I come up with, and I'll catch you up then, or we'll wrap this video up without it done, because I might run out of time, if I'm being honest. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're at that point in the day where I start to wonder, did I screw something up terribly and I just don't know it yet? Because so far it's not been a great day for videoing, but it's been a pretty good day for production. So you know, a lot of this stuff is not that exciting, but when you start checking stuff off the list, it's pretty darn exciting. So I got this header fit. I'm going to show it to you. I got to pull it back off and make a little bit of room for the spark plug boot, but it actually looks like it's going to work quite well. So I'm stoked on that, because that means I got that other set of headers that are good to go if I want to either get rid of them or use them on another project that's got a little bit more room. So let me show you this real quick, and I'm going to make some spark plug boot clearance, and then I think I'm gonna mount these headers for good, and that'll probably be the last thing I can get done today. But let me show you this. Okay, so you see my spotlight? I got a bolt back there. We've got one up there. We have a gasket in it, which is important. When you're fitting headers, make sure you fit them with a gasket, because it will change how they fit. But it's going to be very hard to see. Can I? Well, Oh, maybe. We got gap there. We got a gap there. I do think the control arm may contact one of these two tubes under moderate to extreme conditions, we'll call them. But it'll clearance itself, I'm pretty sure. It looks like we should have room back there. All of the spark plugs are, well, at least the boots are in pretty good shape. This one is my point of concern. I can't get it on with one hand. Go. Well, this is a bad representation because it's not on all the way. But I got it to click on all the way, and I had probably about a 1/16 of clearance between it and the header tube. So I'm going to open that up a little bit, and I've got a full set of these Ching Chong freaking boot cover things, whatever they're called. So my goal right now is I'm gonna take that one off and knock a little clearance in it, a little clearance, and we are gonna, what are we gonna do? We're gonna put a little clearance in it. I'm gonna hopefully final bolt the headers in place, hopefully, and if I got a minute, I'll throw spark plug wires on it and those boots, and we'll get a real good look at what this motor is going to look like when it's done. And that is super exciting. I'm so happy right now. I can't even, I'm just not good at showing it, but I'm so stoked right now. I've gotten a lot more done today than I thought I was going to. So hang tight. I'm going to try and knock all that work out. And yeah, we'll see what the finished product looks like. Okay, here's how she looks. I just gotta I ran out of time to put the little boot things on the other side. My phone's overheating. I'm literally supposed to leave in 30 minutes to go meet my wife, and so I gotta clean up and shower and all that stuff. I also go back to work tomorrow, so I gotta get all this stuff put up entirely. So I'm so freaking happy right now. We got a lot accomplished today. It was a lot of work and a lot of time, but we're making strides on this thing. I'm so stoked. So that's gonna do it for this video. Like I said, I'm out of time. My phone's overheating. I think I already said that. Maybe I'm overheating a little. But I gotta go. Thank you for watching. Thanks for bearing with me on this project. We are we're getting there in a hurry. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Thanks for anyone who, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, advice, I'll take all of it. Just comment it below. I gotta go. Thank you. Appreciate you. Seriously, I have to go. Bye.